For decades, Judi Dench and Maggie Smith were more than icons of British acting. They were living legends, the kind of women whose names alone carried weight. Their careers ran parallel, often crossing, and the world watched them with admiration, envy, and wonder. Yet behind the applause, the public only ever saw fragments of a deeper truth. A friendship so profound it was almost mythical. Both women guarded their private lives fiercely, and their bond remained one of the industry's most beautiful secrets. Now, at 89, Judi Dench has finally spoken openly about what Maggie meant to her, and how her death has left a silence that cannot be filled. This is not just a story about fame or talent. It is the story of a friendship that survived rivalry, tragedy, and time, and a loss so deep it echoes through every stage and screen they ever shared. A young Maggie Smith. From Essex to Oxford. Maggie Smith's story began far from the glamour of Hollywood. Born Margaret Natalie Smith on December 28, 1934, in Ilford, Essex. She was the youngest of 3 children in a middle-class family. Her father, Nathaniel, was a pathologist. Her mother, Margaret Hutton, was a Scottish-born secretary. In 1939, with war approaching, the family moved to Oxford to escape London's bombing raids. The relocation would prove decisive, placing Maggie near theater, culture, and education. At Oxford High School, she was not a loud or outgoing child, but teachers noticed her imagination and her fascination with Shakespeare. By 16, she left formal schooling and joined the Oxford Playhouse, learning the craft of acting. At 17, she performed as Viola in Twelfth Night, marking the beginning of a lifelong vocation. Her ambition was clear. She would not just act, she would endure. Training at RADA and the birth of a force Maggie's talent earned her a place at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, where she honed her voice, movement, and classical technique. At RADA, she was not the kind of actress who sought attention. She absorbed knowledge, observed others, and sharpened her instincts. By the early 1950s, she joined the Oxford Playhouse Repertory Company, performing a rotating roster of roles that demanded speed, memory, and emotional depth. She tackled comedies, tragedies, and everything in between. The constant workload transformed her into a versatile performer. By her early 20s, she was no longer just promising, she was becoming formidable. Her path was clear. She would not be a fleeting star. She would be a force, a presence that could hold a room with silence. The old Vic, triumph and turmoil. By the late 1950s, Maggie had outgrown Oxford's small stages. In 1959, she joined the Old Vic, London's legendary theatre company. She played major Shakespearean roles, Desdemona, Viola, Cleopatra, each one sharpening her craft and building her reputation. Her performances combined restraint with emotional intensity, a blend that critics couldn't ignore. Her talent drew the attention of Laurence Olivier, who invited her to join his National Theatre Company in the early 1960s. But admiration did not mean harmony. Their working relationship became notoriously tense. During a 1964 performance of Othello, Olivier, frustrated by her rising presence, slapped her on stage, an unplanned act of aggression. Maggie later recounted the incident with dry humor, but it was a moment of harsh reality. A young actress battling for space in a world dominated by powerful men. The clash hardened her resolve and sharpened her artistry. From stage to screen, the rise of a movie star. While conquering London theatre, Maggie began to draw attention in film. Her first notable screen role was in the 1958 British thriller Nowhere to Go, earning her a BAFTA nomination. The breakthrough came in 1963 with The VIPs, where her presence stood out among stars like Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. But it was the prime of Miss Jean Brodie that transformed her career. As the eccentric and manipulative teacher Jean Brodie, Maggie delivered a performance that was both charming and terrifying. Her portrayal earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1970, elevating her to international stardom. She didn't rush to Hollywood after the win. Instead, she returned to theater, showing that her loyalty was to craft, not fame. But cinema continued to call. In 1978, she won her second Oscar for California Suite, a role that highlighted her ability to blend humor with heartbreaking depth. Love, betrayal, and the cost of fame behind the curtain of success. Maggie's personal life carried deep pain. In the 1960s, she married actor Robert Stevens. Their relationship began with promise, but his alcoholism and instability eventually broke their marriage. Their union was marred by infidelity and emotional strain, and during the filming of The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, Stevens attempted suicide. Maggie's breaking point came when she learned of his affair with his receptionist, revealed to her not by him but by a friend. She divorced him in 1973, left to raise their 2 sons alone. The experience left lasting scars, but also strengthened her resilience. In 1975, she married playwright Beverly Cross, a man who had long loved her from afar. Their marriage brought stability and love until his death in 1998. Maggie never remarried, saying no one could replace him. Battling illness without losing the stage. Maggie's life included health battles that would have ended lesser careers. In the 1980s, she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, affecting her thyroid and eyes. She underwent treatment but continued to work. Then, in 2007, during the filming of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She endured chemotherapy while continuing to film, refusing to let illness define her. She admitted later that the treatment knocked her sideways, but she refused to quit. For Maggie, acting was not just work. It was survival. The stage and screen were her anchors, and she remained dedicated to her craft, even as her body fought for strength. Harry Potter and Downton Abbey. A second wave of fame. Despite decades of acclaim, Maggie's most globally recognized roles arrived later in life. In 2001, she became Professor Minerva McGonagall in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. To a new generation, she was not the Oscar-winning actress, but the stern, powerful, and compassionate headmistress of Hogwarts. She played the role in all 8 films, becoming a symbol of strength and wisdom. Soon after, she joined Downton Abbey as Violet Crawley, the sharp-tongued dowager countess. Her razor-sharp delivery and hidden tenderness made her the heart of the series. The show became a worldwide sensation, and Maggie won multiple Emmy Awards, Golden Globes, and SAG Awards. Her talent reached new audiences, proving that true artistry never fades. It only becomes more powerful with time. A friendship for the ages, Judi Dench and Maggie Smith. The most profound constant in Maggie's life was her friendship with Judi Dench. They met at the Old Vic in the 1950s, 2 young actresses navigating a world of competition and ambition. They often appeared as rivals in public, but privately, they shared a bond built on laughter, respect, and loyalty. Their on-screen collaborations, A Room with a View, Tea with Mussolini, Ladies in Lavender, and The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, showed a chemistry that felt effortless. In 2018, the documentary Nothing Like a Dame revealed their deep affection with laughter, teasing, and genuine warmth. Judi often spoke of Maggie with admiration, and Maggie returned the sentiment with dry humor. Their friendship was one of the most cherished secrets of British theatre, a quiet love that lasted for decades. The Final Goodbye, Grief, and the Crab Apple Tree. Maggie Smith died in September 2024 at age 89, surrounded by family. Her sons released a statement, noting the devastation of losing their mother and grandmother. For Judi Dench, the loss was deeply personal. At the Cheltenham Literature Festival on October 5, 2024, Judi spoke about grief and broke down, unable to finish her thought. Later, she revealed a private tribute, a forest near her home where she plants trees in memory of lost friends. For Maggie, Judi planted a crab apple tree. On the day of the funeral, her gardener brought her a single crab apple from that tree. Judi carried it in her pocket throughout the service, a small fruit that became a symbol of love and remembrance. Their friendship lasted over 6 decades, surviving fame, illness, and tragedy. Maggie's death didn't just end a life, it ended a bond that defined an era. Outrow, the quiet legacy of 2 queens. Maggie Smith's legacy is not just her awards or iconic roles. It is the power of her resilience, her ability to transform pain into performance, and her dedication to craft even in the darkest moments. Yet perhaps her greatest achievement was the friendship she built with Judi Dench, a bond so deep it became a lifeline. Their story reminds us that even in a world of glittering fame, the most powerful relationships are built on trust, loyalty, and love. Maggie Smith may have left the stage, but her presence remains in every role she played, every line she delivered, and every laugh she shared with Judi. For those who loved her, she will always be the woman who could silence a room with a look and fill it with warmth with a single smile.